Sean here with BaseMint Comics. It's not Wednesday, it's Thursday, May 21st. Delay on the new comic book day pickups for us, but here we are now, so better late than never. Hank, let them know where we're going.
Comic book store?
Now, here is now, and that's where we were. The faster it goes, the more it blurs. Sleep, I don't wanna sleep, 'cause I miss the now. So let's raise a toast to living. Here's to the light on the run. Raise up your glass. Time's a charm. They say you can have all of what you want to do. It must be true. Oh, 'cause I've got time's a charm. Here's to the light. Spread on the run. Raise up your glass. Time's a charm. Here's to the light. Spread on the run. Raise up your glass. Want the ups to well outlast the downs. Down, down, down. Want the ups to well outlast the downs. Down, down, down. Want the ups to well outlast the downs. Down, down, down. Want the ups to well outlast the downs. Down, down, down.
All right, so we are back from our ride up to the comic book shop to pick up our new books. You know the drill. I mean, if you're new here, you don't know the drill, but who am I kidding? Welcome back, regulars. Tea is made. On Wednesdays, I talk about books I picked up last week because I like being, finger right on the pulse like that. Show off what I got this week and general other chatter. So last week, Iron Man, it's rising up there. Fantastic Four is still my favorite Marvel title out there right now. But Iron Man is going up there. This was the conclusion to the beginning arc. I've never read anything that Joshua Williamson had put out before. Really enjoyed this. And sets up a and it's not necessarily like a status quo change or whatever, but it sets up an interesting idea for Tony moving forward with something that he's going to do. And had a nice little epilogue, which set up a villain that I was sad to see be put into place, but also interested to see where that character goes from there. As far as the X books go, my favorite of the title right now, that's technically my favorite right now, is that Cyclops mini that's being put out. But of the main titles that's being put out, Uncanny X-Men is still at the top. I'm enjoying this. There's like a time travel element to this kind of one, or parallel Earth. I'm enjoying it. This was like, it's sort of a, this book is the Weezer of, you know how a good album, not so good album, decent album, like ping pongs all the time. Anyways, that's how I feel about this, where it's like, I get an issue where I'm like, hell yeah, this is great. And then I get an issue where I'm like, oh, okay. And it all feels a little, I struggle with that written for the trade type of thing where everything's kind of drawn out. I miss and harken back to the days of my youth where some of these tales could be told in like 1-2 issues, as opposed to everything being written for the trade. And I like, no matter how long I have been in the game, while we've been in this like writing for the trade mentality, I still can't get used to it. And you know, but here we are. So this was definitely I don't know, for me, a bit of a lull. And they've kind of had this like thing in the background of this book where they're like hinting at there being some huge threat in the school, which is now a prison. I don't know, man. And it just like, yeah, we got the answer, but not the full answer. I don't know how I feel about it. But like I said, the team, the creative team, and the actual team of X-Men characters is enough to kind of keep this. I'm just hoping for more. Like I'm like, it's good, but I'm always hoping for more. Captain America, it's been great. This arc has been a ton of fun leading into the Armageddon Now thing, and this ends on a cliffhanger that I obviously don't want to spoil, but it was definitely a holy smokes moment for me, where I was like, well, that's interesting where we're going with this. Amazing Spider-Man Death Spiral body count, that is ridiculous. I really like Kev Walker's art, so that was a big draw for me. This sort of gives you a origin of Torment, I think was the character's name. Point is that like I think this should have been like smack dab in the middle of the event. I liked it. It was good. Art was good. Story was interesting, but I think it would have worked better if this was actually told within the tale as opposed to being some afterthought one shot. You know, it felt sort of weird because it was like, well, it's already wrapped up. And I guess, I mean, it leaves it open-ended in the ending where there's kind of like a way that overall character could come back. But it's still, that was something that I felt just like it could have been, the main part of that story could have been told in the background of the event. And then the ending of it could have just been a tacked on epilogue at the end of it. And that would have been good. Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day. I like Dan Slott's Spider-Man run. I am still in I wish Peter was married and could, you know, especially, it cracks me up when they did that, when they did the whole, like, there's actually a couple things going on in here. And part of it is like, okay, Brand New Day was a very long time ago now when I think about it. And my recollection is that Pete made a deal with Mephisto that everyone would forget who he was. And then this, he has Strange wipe everybody's memories so they don't know who he is. And that feels like an MCU thing, not what actually happened in the comic books. And this also involves Punisher, so this feels like it's a corporate synergy. We've got a movie, so we're gonna make Spider-Man team up with Frank Castle to tie into the movie, and I'm not a fan of that type of stuff. I actively loathe movie synergy into comics. Comics should drive the films. The films should have nothing. Like, I don't want Nick Fury to look like Samuel L. Jackson. I want Nick Fury to look like Nick Fury. It's a thing. I love the movies. Love them. But I do not want them to have anything to do with the comics. The comics should be the driving force. And there was a bit of news that was released this week where, like, the head of television for Marvel is now in charge of the comic books, and that makes me nervous as hell. Like, I know that, like, I laugh because every time I see, like, a video pop up on my feed or whatever, like, comics are dying. I've heard that forever. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that comics are dying. However, this one gives me pause. This one gives me even more pause than Disney buying Marvel. Yeah, so that felt weird. That felt weird that they were like, hey, Doctor Strange. And am I misremembering that 4-part post Back in Black Civil War? Kingpin hires somebody to kill Peter, but accidentally shoots Aunt May, and everybody knows who he is post Civil War. Am I misremembering that? Did Doctor Strange have something to do with that? And I'm totally blanking on it. But this felt like a movie thing. And then it sort of, like, that sort of didn't piss me off about the movie aspect of it. It pissed me off of them trying, like, I'm like, are you trying to back away from the fact that he made a deal with Mephisto? Because you need to fix that. I don't know. I got a lot going on. I could just be misremembering something. But if somebody in the comments wants to hit me to that, I would love it. Read some DC. This was good. This is like me reading a DC book is like me reading a brand new indie book. I have no idea about any of these characters, so this was all new to me. So there was like an introduction of how the two characters that make up Firestorm first met, like a little flashback to how they met, and I thought it was adorable. Like, I was like, this is fun and good. And then it ends on this, what I assume, if I was well versed in the universe and knew who these characters were, there was a group of superheroes, I'm assuming, that show up to go after this messed up Firestorm character. And I was like, oh man, I know a couple of these people from movies. But I imagine if I was a big DC fan, I'd see that last page and I'd be like, cool. But I'm not a big DC fan. I was just dipping my toes in that one. I also caught up on reading Fraction's Batman because I decided to start picking that up. And that was another thing that made me laugh because I was just like, yeah, this is good. It's good. But my entire Batman knowledge is based on an animated series I watched once when I was like 11 and cared much more about the X-Men cartoon and the Spider-Man cartoon of the time. And Welcome Back, Kotter. That was my after school. I would rush home and watch reruns of Welcome Back. Love Welcome Back, Kotter. Kids going absolutely nuts upstairs. Yeah, so that is, there were some other titles in there that I enjoyed everything. It was great. Good week of comics. It was nice to dip my toes into some, but I did have to laugh, like with the DC stuff, where I was like, I'm sure this means something to someone, but it means nothing to me. And I don't particularly want to move past that in that particular universe, because that would take a lot. I've been collecting straight Marvel for 35 years. And so there are like background characters and things when revealed that bring me great joy. And it would take me another 35 years to catch up that with the distinguished competition. And I don't have that type of cash or type of time. So what did I pick up this week? Hooray. There's no DC in my pile this week. Moonstar. I flipped a switch about the new X line and how I'm trying to look at it to make myself enjoy it a little bit more, like a little trick that I'm playing on. And like when I read issue number 2 of Moonstar, I actually enjoyed it much more than number 1. And I gotta say, that's a beautiful cover. Like I was like, cover alone, just seeing the old gang in the black and yellow, super jazzed. Yeah, so issue number 2 was good. Looking forward to issue number 3, especially now that I read issue number 2 and enjoyed it as much as I did. This is how pre-orders get you, man. You sign up for something. And I know that I signed up for this in the idea that initially I thought it was going to be a mini that was like about finding the next Sorcerer Supreme post One World Under Doom. But it just appears that they were just like, hey, it's Wanda. And it is. Hasn't been bad. Hasn't been. It falls into this category of like. I was watching Geeky Old Hog's video the other day, and he was talking about books that he just sort of like reads, and they're good, but he knows he's never going to read them again. And that's been a little bit. That's something that I've sort of been fighting, like a little internal struggle within myself about my collecting habits and picking things up. Is like I pick stuff up. A good chunk of that is just wanting to support like my local comic shop for a variety of reasons of why I love that shop. And then I do like, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I'm never like, what do I do? But lately there's been some stuff that I got rid of from like the early 2000s, some like Avengers titles and stuff like that, that I've actually circled back and like repurchased, and so I'm sort of like, I'm hesitant to get rid of some stuff, wondering if it's just like, is it how I'm reading it now? Is it month to month? Is it going to read better when I pull it all together? So that's sort of one of those things where I'm like, I wonder if I'll enjoy that more, or if it's just gonna, like 5 years from now, I'm gonna be looking through a box and be like, I should get rid of that. Wolverine, Weapons of Armageddon. It's been good. I feel like I'm enjoying. It's Chip Zdarsky written, so it's not bad. But I'm enjoying the Captain America march to this much more than I am this particular Wolverine story. Exceptional X-Men wrapped in a new package. This is, like I said, this is where I struggle with the X books. There's a lot of completionist in me. And the first 2 issues of this have not been great. And I don't have high hopes for number 3. I am not a regular reader of Venom, but I picked this up because it was like, I didn't even realize when reading the Torment event storyline crossover, I don't read Venom. So number one, I was thrown off, but I was as thrown off as Peter Parker was by the fact that Mary Jane was Venom. And I didn't realize upon reading it that Peter didn't know that until it was revealed that she was. And so I imagine, judging by the cover of this, that it's going to be the 2 of them having some heart-to-heart about what's going on. And I was like, well, I like the 2 characters enough to pick up this sort of like tack on to that storyline. And if I'm going to read that body count thing about a villain who's already dead, spoilers, sorry. I should give that a shot. Rogue. I often lament the fact that I do not like DNA covers, but this one I actually do. That's straight out of my childhood, so I was jazzed about that. And this has been a surprisingly good miniseries in the X line. Another really fun book is Inglorious X-Force. Little time travel thing with Cable, which I always enjoy. Pulled Miss Marvel into it. It's been a lot of fun, so I'm excited to read that. Amazing Spider-Man, number 993. I've been enjoying the Joe Kelly one. I actually read this one. This was the only new book that I read last night. It's sort of it's definitely a fill-in issue. Not a fill-in issue. It's definitely dealing with the fallout of the Torment storyline, particularly with Aunt May. And then it deals with some fallout of Ben Reilly being in charge of Peter's scientific life while he was out in space. And I have to admit, I really wish that people who don't have writers that don't have a reverence for Ben Reilly, I wish they would just leave him alone. Just put him on a shelf and leave him alone until there's a writer that actually does care about that character. Because if you grew up in that time period, which I did, there's no, the Clone Saga wasn't great. And it went on for way too long. But I really dig that, I dig both versions of the suit, the Spider one, and the 90s hoodie thing, you know, costume's cool. You know, there was a series that Stegman did right before, I think, Superior Spider-Man, where they tried to like move Ben to like Texas or something, and he was going to become like the Spider-Man of somewhere else and like kind of make his own way. And I really wish someone would just kind of like continue to do that with the character. That's just my own personal take. It's like the constant like, let's dump on him because we didn't particularly enjoy that story. Sort of stinks. Last but certainly not least, my favorite book in Marvel stable at the moment, Fantastic Four, number 737. And I got excited because I saw this one has a special bonus FF story by Stan Sakai. So, you know, Usagi Yojimbo phase, doing a Fantastic Four story. So those are the comic books that I picked up this week. So I am excited to read the rest of those, jazzed about that. So, things that we need to talk about. In my Motor City Comic Con video, I did that the Friday night with no plans of going back for the rest of the weekend. But upon like filing things away and doing the video, I realized that Mark Bagley had personalized 2 of my comics, but he did not sign them. And that was, I was like, well, that's kind of a bummer, because I know that he's the one that signed them, but I still like them signed. So thankfully I had that press pass, and so I was able to just kind of like sneak in the back door. Ran right to Mark Bagley's table. I lucked out because there was no line at that moment, so I was able to quickly explain what happened. He laughed, said that occasionally happens. I brought a couple extra books that I wanted to get signed, but I didn't want it to be too overwhelming on Friday. And then he was getting ready, like right as I rolled up to leave to do his panel. And so I went and watched his panel, enjoyed that. He's an entertaining guy. And there was definitely some interesting tidbits about like how thankful he is that he came up in the time period that he did. Because right now things are very, you know, the times they are a-changing. And so it was, it's a good panel. So then I split after that and stopped by a comic dealer booth and picked up a couple, right around that Civil War era of Spider-Man. I'd gotten a couple of those, like the Civil War books and some of the other, just got them in trade because I wasn't picking up Spider-Man at the time regularly. And so, I had seen those the day before, but decided against getting them, thought about it overnight, and was like, well, I'm going there anyways, might as well grab them. And so as I'm standing there, I'm like looking around at the rest of the stuff. And, he's got the wall books out there. And I see Amazing Spider-Man 252. And it says, like, it's got the price and it says signed. And so I was like, I was just curious who it was signed by. And so I asked the guy, we'd had a pretty lengthy conversation the day before while I was buying the stuff that I bought the day before. I knew I was going to get a couple of those more modern Spider-Man stuff that I had in trades just to try to like get rid of the trades, That's my current process right now is double, like the dude even laughed because he was like, you're like collecting backwards. And it's like, yeah, there's some stuff that I'm just replacing that I own just because I don't want it in trade. I want it in single issues. So we're chatting. He pulls down the 252. It's signed by Ron Friends. He's telling me about it. And this other dude starts like, he basically like gets uncomfortably close to me. And he too starts then like, he didn't initiate the conversation about the 252. He just sort of was like eavesdropping and then started to like, dude looked like he was trying to like make a deal, right? And I have talked before about 252 where my mother got me like a trade of the Alien costume saga. And so I was like, I don't think I really need a 252 because I have it in that, and that's a trade that I'm always going to keep, much like the Dark Phoenix Saga one. I have all of those, but that trade means so much to me because it was a gift from my mom from when I was a kid, and the same with this Spider-Man thing. So I was like, I was just interested in the book, but this dude was doing so like legitimately, he and I were talking, and this guy just basically like interrupted and just started asking his own questions about the condition of the book, and it pissed me off so much that I was just like, yeah, I'll take it. I'm just, and the dude was, but it was like, hey buddy, I had him pull it down first, and I just agreed to do the deal. Was I planning on buying this book? No. But comic book show and like where you're looking and what you're looking at, etiquette. Like if I'd been like, cool, man, and put it back, then by all means, go right ahead. But this dude getting all weird, thinking, I don't know, just something set me off. And I was just like, well, I got the money for this, pal. So good luck. Go find another 252. And that one won't be signed by Ron Friends. So thanks to that dude, not really, not having spatial awareness and reading a room, I have a very nice copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 252, and it's signed by Ron Friends, and it matches because I have met Ron before and had him sign some other things that were near and dear to my heart. But yeah, so that is you put me in a room and act a fool, and I will be like, wasn't even planning on buying that, but now I am. Now I am definitely going to, just because you seemed interested. It's probably not a great move, but I am happy that I own it. Like, and I'm obviously still going to keep the trade that my mother got me. But yeah, but I was just, I don't know, in the moment I was so steamed about that dude, just kind of like, it's almost like he was like trying to get in, like I'm standing amongst the boxes like I am right here. Other dude's here. It was a tight little area. He had a table back here with like dollar books, and then you had to go in for like the good stuff. And so it was tight, man, and that dude was trying to like get in front of me to like make a deal. And I was like, nah, it's not happening, pal. If you'd been cool, I probably would have just put it back, and you'd have an Amazing Spider-Man number 252 signed by Ron Friends. But you were not cool. So let that be a lesson. Be cool. Okay, so that was yesterday. Was Wednesday. Yeah, we did that stuff yesterday. Not the Comic-Con, the bike ride, the picking up the books. But things are hectic because tomorrow, our main man Hank, the reason everyone tunes in, is having a surgical procedure in the morning. So there will be no Cornerbacks Classics this weekend because I am obviously like, this is the first time he's ever had anything. He's had a couple stitches from some, wrestling escapades, and jumping into, he like smacked his head once in a fire pit. One time he jumped off a couch, busted his head open. He's a wild man. Supposedly no restrictions, but I imagine that I won't be tossing him in the back of the bike over the weekend and whipping him around. But I was thinking, I was like, oh man, how can I keep him contained without like putting him in a cage or something? Because I don't want him to bust any stitches. I'm kidding about the cage thing. How do I keep him contained? And I was like, Lego. If I get him a Lego, we can just build the Lego, and it'll be sitting. We can play with the Lego because he's been coming down here a lot more. And before, when he would come down here and he'd ask to come down here, he'd just want to take every action figure off, put him in a pile, make him fight. It's a blast. We have a good time with it. But lately, there's a there's a Daily Bugle over there, and he has been like, the other day, it was like locked in for like 2 hours, just sat there, just having a Spider-Man versus Green Goblin around the Daily Bugle. Good time. So I was like, I will get him some Legos. So the other day, I went to the store, and I picked up this Oscorp building thing, because he's obsessed with the Green Goblin. Loves gliders, thinks they're the greatest thing ever. And so I was like, oh, perfect. We can put this thing together. It'll keep him seated still. We'll be doing the thing. I go over the instructions. I have him pick out the pieces for me. We put it together. It is a long, tedious process. But, you know, like I said, we're trying to keep my man calm and not popping a stitch. So I drove out to the Lego store. It was a whole thing. And I was like, well, I'm here. Might as well make the trip worth it, right? So not only are we putting that together, but we're going to put together the Avengers Tower. Because who doesn't want like, he's over there playing with the Daily Bugle. He might as well be over here playing with an Avengers Tower too. So that's the plan. So that is our weekend plan, is to recoup from surgery, eat all the snacks and lollipops he wants, and put together some Legos. And who knows, if everything goes according to plan, maybe I'll toss something out here. But Cornerbacks Classics, unfortunately, won't be happening this weekend, because there's, I haven't done any of the homework. I haven't read any of the books. I was super bummed. It's a good week. But like I said, we got a lot of prep tonight to do for him. I want to hang out with him, and I don't want to be, you know. So if everybody could do me a favor and, send positive, super heroic vibes to our favorite little dude, I would truly appreciate it. So that was Wednesday, yesterday. And like I said, if there's some idea that strikes my fancy that could be a quick little thing to get it out there, I will. Who knows? Maybe there will be a progress on the Avengers Tower. You'll see me pulling my hair out because he, already like exploded the building or something like that. And then we'll be back next week for another ride up to the comic book shop, and then back to Cornerbox Classics and all of that jazz. So, I hope everybody's been enjoying their new books. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the comments about your Comic-Con etiquette choices when it comes to looking at books. Do you, are you willing to, pick up an insane key because some dude interjected? Let me know in the comments. And, yeah, looking forward to reading the new books this week. And I am looking forward to little dude getting out of surgery tomorrow, and putting together some Legos with him once he's out of his anesthesia fog that he will probably be in for a good portion of the day. So there's that. So I am gonna sign off here and go take a bike ride with him, and hang out with him and pretend like I don't know that tomorrow morning is going to suck for him. So thanks for taking this ride with us, and I hope everybody enjoyed your comics, and I will see you when I see you, be it this weekend or next Wednesday. Bye.